What's up, guys? Flippin' Steve here, heading uptown, ready to cash out on all my Devin Booker and De'Aaron Fox cards. As you can see, we're up here at the bank. It's 3:56. It's time to make some loot. Well, this bank right here, guys, they're not accepting Devin Booker or De'Aaron Fox cards, so that's a fail. But there's always the one across the street. Let's go see what they got to say. Well, guys, that didn't work out too well. Stuck with all these De'Aaron Fox and Devin Booker cards. Sure wish I didn't buy them at their peak. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Flippin' Steve. Just got done watching Game 3 as the Heat pulled off the upset on the Lakers. Jimmy Butler had himself a monster game tonight, so big ups to Jimmy Butler. As you can see, I got some cards out front representing the finals. Got the LeBron, the Anthony Davis, and a Jimmy Butler that I've yet to get graded. Probably going to go in my next submission. Won't get it back till God knows when. But, you know, maybe I'll just sell it raw. I picked it up for 115 bucks. If I feel like I could flip it raw and it'd be worth my while more so than to get it graded and wait forever, then maybe I'll sell it. But we'll see. Before I get into these NBA pickups that I'm doing right now, guys, I'm going to talk about a 1,500 subscriber challenge has been thrown down. I'm leaving to go on vacation on Tuesday, which is probably going to be tomorrow if I upload this video on Monday. So on Tuesday, I'll be headed to Florida. And yeah, by the time I get back, it'll be a little over a week. I'm hoping to be at 1,500 subscribers. I know it's a big push. We're just a little over 1,300 at the moment. But at 1,500 subscribers, I'm going to give away the 2 Tyler Hero rookies, the Prism and the Optic. So yeah, I'll leave details on how you can get entered to win those. Those will be given away absolutely free at 1,500 subscribers. And if we're able to pull off 1,500 subscribers by the time I get back from vacation, I will also throw in this Optic Jason Tatum 9. Yeah, the Celtics were bounced, but Jason Tatum's still a future superstar in a great market. Good card to have, especially for free. So, yeah, guys, thanks for the continued support. The channel continues to grow. And I'm going to go ahead and get into my 3 picks, or my 3 players that I'm purchasing. As we've seen, there's a dip in the NBA market, a slight dip in the card market in general. However, NBA cards have really been affected by it. Some cards are starting to go back up. Some cards, most cards have leveled off. Not really many cards still going down. So as the cards are starting to level off, I look for it to be a buyer's market at the moment. This is, the window is open to get in on some, higher priced cards that you normally wouldn't be able to afford. And so these players, kind of span across all different years as well as price points. And I'm really playing it safe. I'm going with established players. Some of these guys are not going to be surprises to you guys, as lots of people have talked about the same players as well. But a couple of them have been. And if I don't run the video too long, I'm actually going to throw in an honorable mention card. A card that I haven't really talked about and I'm starting to pick up. I have only grabbed one, and I've grabbed one of them raw. I haven't grabbed any graded. But in no particular order, let's go ahead and start with Kobe Bryant. And in specific, the 1996 Topps, guys. This card has really seen a decrease in value for no particular reason other than it's just not as hot as it once was. Mamba Week came and it went. However, it'll come around every year. His announcement into the Hall of Fame is coming up in January. At least that's the plan. We'll see if it gets pushed again. But Kobe will always be Kobe. Kobe will always be iconic. He will always be in, the basketball world in one form or another, never forgotten. And this card is, I just believe, is, the iconic image. Really good card. It's all I can really say about it. I mean, what else can you say about Kobe Bryant other than it's Kobe Bryant? And right now prices are down, and I believe that's a good enough reason to buy. The fact that prices are down and that it's Kobe Bryant. Now, I'm not saying go out and buy yourself a 10 in this card because they are still pricey. They're still over $2,000, maybe $2,500. At one time, believe it or not, in August, though, those cards were up around the $7,000 mark. So it is down enough to where if you really want to spend a chunk of change, you can get on one of these for a really good price. But search yourself out for some 9s and even some 8s, guys. Don't be afraid to go after some PSA 8s, especially with the new price hike to PSA grading, the new fees for the economy service. I believe that's going to drive up some values on lower grades such as 8 and 9s. And that's a whole different video that I'm going to do, a different discussion. I might actually live stream it as my first live stream while I'm on vacation, so I can still talk to you guys and give you content while I'm away. But yeah, just different effects I think that the PSA price hike is going to have on the market. So don't be afraid to buy. Now, not super modern stuff, but don't be afraid to buy Kobe's in, PSA 8s and 9s. Whatever gets you in, at your affordable price. Go out there, and if you like Kobe, like I do, because like I said, guys, this is stuff that I'm buying. I'm not telling you to go spend your money on these cards, but if you're looking for a nice Kobe Bryant card, I believe this card in a PSA 8 and a PSA 9 is a really good value right now. And a 10 if you really want to spend some money. Next up is a guy from this year's rookie class. And no, it's not Zion. It's not Ja. It's not Tyler Hero. It's not RJ Barrett. It's none of those guys. But it's going to be Roy Hachimura, guys. Roy Hachimura, I've just been picking up a couple of his. Not the 10s, because 10s are still a little overpriced. Anything that you throw a 10 on in a slab just tends to be ridiculously expensive. Roy Hachimura, base, you could buy these probably under $10 and then get it graded. And if you get a 10, it's probably over $100. A 10 times multiplier because of a PSA case on a young superstar who's not really established yet is ridiculous to me. But I'm liking the 9s. You can buy these 9s for like $30. And like I said, with the PSA price hike, now it's either pay $10 to $15 to get your cards graded and wait forever, or pay $50 to get them back at an economy rate of 45 plus days. No one's going to be paying $50 to get Roy Hachimura cards graded. So when I see these around that $30 mark, I just think it's a good buy. When I buy young players, I look for other reasons to buy them other than potential. And what I mean by that is Kobe Bryant, you buy Kobe Bryant because he's Kobe Bryant. He's got a concrete legacy. It's not going anywhere. But a player like Roy Hachimura, who's still trying to get his feet under him in the NBA, still developing, playing for a bit of a struggling team, although the Wizards did make it to the bubble. They didn't make it into the playoffs, but they were invited. And with Bradley Beal injured, he showed that he could play, and he stepped up in some games and was putting up points. He was scoring over 20 points, in the NBA bubble and playing fairly well. The thing that I like about Roy Hachimura is his international appeals. He's the first Japanese-born NBA basketball player. And if you think about that, if we ever end up having the Tokyo Olympics, which has been postponed until further notice, but just try to think ahead for small things like that would get a player like this notoriety. If he's playing well in the NBA, as well as Olympics in Tokyo, that's something that could really get his cards some notoriety and really some good international appeal. Like a Yao Ming used to have, with China, how his cards were just super hot, even exceeding his production because of his market. So I like Roy Hachimura at a cheap, low price. I wouldn't go out and buy his 10s, PSA 10s for $100 or anything like that. You can buy his PSA 9 silvers for like $80. You can get his base for like $30. And even the SGCs, sneaky finds like this can be like $30. So just a good price point for an entry level, decent player who I think could have some upside. My third pick, guys, and this is probably my favorite pick of all of them, is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard rookie cards. Not a single card in specific. Well, one card in specific. However, it is a little pricey, but it is way down. And it's going to be the 2012 Prism, guys. in a PSA 9. Again, PSA 9s holding great value. This card at one time had hit, you know, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. Yes, for a PSA 9, it was up to $1,400 at one time, and now you can get these. You see them going at auction anywhere between $400 and $500. If you see any of these slipping around that $400 mark, to me, I just believe it's a good purchase. I'm going to scoop a couple of them up. I'm not going to go super heavy just because that is a little bit of a hefty price point, but I'd like to get myself a couple of these, maybe 3 or 4, and just put them away. I mean, because it is Kawhi, and yes, everybody's talking about the Clippers choked, Kawhi choked, this, that, and the other. However, he's also been very clutch. People tend to forget about the great things that certain players have done just because they have, an off game, because he was playing great throughout the entire series. Had an off game, and they were eliminated, and all of a sudden, people think that Kawhi isn't an all-time great, which he is. Future Hall of Famer. He's got championships. He's still young. And the Clippers are still a really good team. So, to me, this card is a good value. It's still pricey. If you like Kawhi and you want to pick yourself up some Kawhi cards and you're not looking to spend a whole lot, as an alternative, I really love the Panini Brilliance. I always have. If you guys have watched my videos in the past, you know that I'm big on this card. The Brilliance, as a lower end rookie card. You have the, from 2012, you have the Prism, you have the Select, you have the Hoops. There was no Optic. So, there has to be another card that people could chase. I really like the Fleer Brilliance because it has a nice chromium look to it. It's just a slick looking card. Not a whole lot of these in the Pop Report, and not a super easy grade. This card at one time actually pushed $900 to $1,000 in a Gem Mint 10. It's actually now down. You could probably get this for $300 or $400. I really haven't looked up the market on it. Luckily for me, I didn't buy at the peak. I bought this when it was $200. So luckily for me, even if I was to sell, it's a good, I would make a profit on it. However, I didn't sell at the peak, but that's fine because I'm satisfied to hold players like Kawhi, and players like Kobe, and maybe get a quick flip out of players like Roy Hachimura. There's the Kobe. And that's my 3 picks right now, guys. I'm really liking the Kobe Bryant tops. I'm liking the Prisms of Roy Hachimura in a 9, even the Prism Silvers. And I like the PSA 9 2012 Prism of Kawhi. And I like the Brilliance, or even any of his lower-end rookie cards. Right now, they're just all good values on Kawhi Leonard. He's just forgotten about all of a sudden, and to me, it's really crazy. And if you hung with me this long, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you my 4th pick. I wasn't really going to talk about this card that much. I'm going to try to grab a couple more. Right now, I have one raw that I can show you. And I'm just going to give you a rundown of this player real quick. He was actually named to the 50 greatest players, of all time in the NBA. A 7-time All-Star, a 3-time NBA champion, and he wasn't carried in those championships, even though he played for the Lakers. In 1988, he was the NBA Finals MVP, so he actually carried his weight for those teams. Has the nickname Big Game, and I'm talking about Big Game James Worthy, and the 86-87 Fleer rookie card of his. Super big market with the Lakers. Everybody's talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson and, those Laker greats from, the Showtime. But James Worthy is the one guy that tends to be forgotten about because he was just a quiet player who went out there and did his job. Very much reminds me of a Scottie Pippen, even though he played before Scottie Pippen. They played during the same years, but he was in the league before Scottie Pippen. It was kind of like Jordan and Pippen, but in that late 80s run with the Lakers, it was like Magic and Worthy, even though people talk about Kareem a lot. And James Worthy was just a great player, and right now for his value, I just think he's overlooked. I like this card in a PSA 8, because I'm just really starting to like 8s, even in, more so in older vintage cards. Some people would consider this vintage, some people wouldn't. It is an 86, so I guess it depends on how old you are, whether or not you would consider it a vintage card. But you could look for these raw and maybe try to get them graded yourself, but you never know with 86 Fleer with, just with counterfeits and it's just a tough year to get graded. However, you can pick this up in a PSA 8 for under $100. You can find them for like $70, $80 in a PSA 8. I like that buy for myself. I'm going to grab myself a couple graded 8s, and I may gamble on a couple raws. As you can see, I already have gambled on one. And I just think it's a great buy. People are starting to lean towards vintage. People are more so going back, way back, not to the mid 80s. But if you want to consider this vintage, people are starting to lean towards vintage. And a player like James Worthy is one that people are really overlooking at the moment. And I'm going to try to sneak in, before, he pops up on everybody's radar and it becomes too late. So yeah, guys, that's my picks. Spanning across multiple years. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you guys are buying. I'd like to know. Are you guys buying new stuff? Are you guys buying older stuff? Are you guys gambling on prospects? Are you guys buying established superstars and Hall of Famers? Are you guys buying vintage? Is anyone dabbling in vintage? Because vintage is really starting to interest me. I am putting a lot of money in vintage. However, it's in the soccer market. I have another video coming up to show you guys some of that stuff. You guys know what I've been doing in the soccer market already. So yeah. So make sure you click the link below, which will send you back to my most previous video. That'll tell you how you can get qualified for the Tyler Heroes and the Jason Tatum. So once again, guys, thanks for all your support. Appreciate all my subscribers, all my supporters, everybody who comments and interacts with me. Thanks a lot, guys. And until next time, good luck in your investing, and I'll see you later.